June of last year, in my meetings with President Biden, I found him to be in command and impressive and wield his influence to make progress on key priorities. But in that same month, Biden apparently did not even recognize George Clooney in a fundraiser. Were you being straight with the American public?
Well, look, we're just looking forward.
Marie, is that going to cut it for Democrats? I know you want Democrats to win and be successful in the future. Will that help?
No, and I think because I want Democrats to win, and because I think Donald Trump is an existential threat to many of the things we care about, the fact that the people in the White House who agree with me on that, in the Biden White House, they believed this about Trump winning again. They knew how problematic that would be for so many of the things they have fought for. And yet in 2017 and 18, 19, 20, they saw they got him elected, and then they saw the decline continue. And after the midterms, I've talked to lots of my friends who worked in that White House. After the midterms, there was never a conversation about whether he should run again because Democrats overperformed, right? We did better than people thought we would. Biden took credit, and nobody had the courage in that White House to stand up to him and Jill Biden and say, if you run again, we will lose. And the fact that it got to the June of the election year, and that disastrous debate performance for him to be forced out. I mean, we had no chance at that point, right? Kamala, you can't run a campaign with no primary, being anointed in 100 days. Yeah. And I am, the fact that George Clooney had more courage than every elected Democrat. They made fun of Dean Phillips, right, to say the things.
They didn't recognize him.
Well, but he didn't
recognize. Ultimate insult
it sounds
in Hollywood.
like he didn't recognize a lot of people that worked for him. The fact that he was the only one to say, I need to write a New York Times op-ed, and all these people, now they're coming out, most of them anonymously, which I agree is I don't like. David Bluff, God bless him.
At least he's willing to be on the record.
This is one of those points where George Clooney or a celebrity could actually say, do you know who I am?
Yeah. Don't even know.
There's so much anger, and I like Joe Biden a lot. I don't like that his legacy will always be this.
It will always be this.
And his team did that to him.
Kate.
Kate.
You're not my
TikTok
assistant, Kate. You're Katie. There are 200 Democratic insiders quoted in here. A lot of them are anonymous. Even their current spokespeople, they want to remain anonymous. They don't want anything to do with this.
Okay, they are still so afraid of just speaking the truth about what happened that they're not willing to come out on the record on this when everybody could see what was going on. Nobody was courageous. George Clooney wasn't courageous. Barack Obama wasn't courageous. Nancy Pelosi wasn't courageous. Democrats had a choice. They could have had a primary. And instead of having a primary, they were running around suing RFK Jr. and Dean Phillips, trying to keep them off of ballots. There was a choice here.
Can I add one thing?
Sure.
He also didn't want a primary because Biden and his team did not believe that Kamala Harris would win.